Here in the San Juan School District office, and we are here for a special board meeting today. Today's date is Tuesday, March 26th. The time is 4 p.m. In attendance, we have board members Nan Barton, Colleen Benally, Steve Black, Lori Mon, Mary Shumway. Nelson Yellowman has been excused. We also have administration, our superintendent Fitzgerald, and our business administrator Tyrell Pemberton. So we need a motion to approve our agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, we will move to our first discussion item, which is our BES location discussion by our business administrator.
All right, thank you. So in our earlier March meeting, we had been directed to just evaluate the possibility of moving the Blanding location of the Blanding Elementary School. So in our open portion of our meeting today, just want to go over just some general things that would need to be completed as part of that. And we'll go through this kind of quickly here. So Aaron, if you're running, if you'll just scroll for me as we kind of go through just some of those activities that would need to take place. So the first one that we have on here is just, go ahead. Investigative evaluations of a new site. There are several things that we would need to complete prior to acquiring any alternative site for a new elementary school. Those things are listed here, and this isn't necessarily an exhaustive list, but a geotechnical engineering report, an archaeology study and evaluation of new land, hazardous material evaluation, and a site survey would all need to be completed just to give us additional information about whatever that alternative site would be, so that we have the same kind of information that we have with our current chosen elementary school site. So those are just investigative evaluations that would need to be completed for us prior to acquiring a new site. And then this is just another informational item for the school board of where we're kind of at. So there are redesign activities that would need to take place with the process of Blanding Elementary School and where we're at today. So if a new site, any new site that we looked at did not, accommodate the existing design, then we would, all building systems, electrical, mechanical, structural, all of those systems would have to undergo a modified and potentially complete redesign. Now, if you have a new site that you're evaluating and you want to accommodate the existing site plans, so your floor plan doesn't change much, and you just took the existing layout and you place it on a new site that would accommodate it. There are still some design activities that would still need to be redone on any new site, and that's the civil engineering, landscape, different arch specs, and then the architectural oversight of design process. So those are just some of the design activities that would have to be redone that have been worked on with our currently selected site. The next section is just kind of an estimate on impact to the schedule there. So those investigative activities that we talked about, we would hope that we could do those activities concurrently, so you could do them, all at the same time. And we'd estimate 4 to 8 weeks to complete all of those in order to get us the information that we would need to fully have all the information we need about a specific location. And then the property acquisition process is an unknown time frame. If we had everything in place and moved as fast as possible, that would be great. And that impact is variable just depending on what takes place there with the transfer of ownership of any property. And then the redesign activities. So again, if the new site that we looked at accommodated completely the current plans, we're still looking at 12 to 16 or 3 to 4 months of those redesign activities, and that's coming from the firm that we've hired to design the building. It would still take probably 3 to 4 months to do those redesign activities. So that's just if the building could be moved to the new site as is. And then additional months would be expected if it, and then that could vary, the 18 to 24, depending on how much redesign was needed, if it wasn't accommodating for it. Then there's the construction schedule. So we are, we were planning on having that back to the school board in May for us to approve the GMP and move forward with the project in construction. It would likely be pushed back to, fall or winter based on those activities, depending on how much time, we needed for those different things. So we've mentioned the timeline from the start was the hope was the fall of 26 to have students attending the school. That's just, the impact to our schedule. There would be no way to get in by the fall of 26 with the change. It would definitely push it back another school year before we would be into the building. Just some rough estimates of cost you have there. That's from some of our, with what we've done so far on our current building and our current site. Those are the estimates that we have as just the studies that would need to be done on any new site. And then the redesign activities, again, from MHTN, an estimate there, if the site does accommodate it, and we could just move it, there's still probably $250,000 that we would need to pay to have those redesign activities completed on a completely new site, as opposed to what we've already done on our existing. So those are just general estimated costs for there. There's also a construction impact with cost, and this is highly variable. This could be much less than this number, it could be more. This is taking in with, some professional construction estimators on what we're seeing in Utah with construction price escalation. That it could be less than the $2.5 million for 6 months. In fact, if we're seeing things steady out, it probably would be, but those are some estimates of what just a delay and with material increases and labor increases that we're seeing, that we could incur additional costs to push the project back. Again, highly variable, could be less, could be more if we hit another pandemic, year. I don't think we're there, but anyways, that's an idea of that. And then the letter B on that one is, just additional costs or saved, really, on a new site are unknown until we have those investigative activities done on any potential new site. So there could be cost savings with moving. We've been aware of some of the challenges from the start of our property and costs we're incurring there, depending on the new location, and then depending on where you go, there could be additional costs that we're just unaware of with the new site. So those investigative activities would have to be done to kind of clear that up. And so that's just kind of a brief overview. With our current site, we've identified the challenges. We kind of know what they are and have, created some mitigation strategies to help resolve those concerns with our current site. With any change, we're starting from scratch on what challenges we might run into with another site, and we would have to develop mitigation strategies to address those at that time. So those are just some general, if any new site was looked at, those are some of the activities we would need to take into consideration for that. And that's just any and all other potential locations. And then there is, the item of discussion that we'd have that would need to be in a closed session for a specific location that we can discuss there. But is there any questions from the school board or comments regarding just some of these general activities that would need to be completed?
Questions?
I just wanted to clarify for the public that the reason that we're holding this special meeting is because time is of the essence, and so we're just trying to, if we decide to change something, that's that much more time getting a jump on things. That's why we're not doing it in 2 weeks at our regularly scheduled time. Correct? Yeah.
I do have a question. We won't have, Should we not be able to use the current location that we're looking at? We're not up against any deadlines as opposed to before with funding and everything like that. I mean, of course, we want to open as soon as we can with all the best outcomes possible. We won't be hitting any other deadlines that will push us back more, like with funding or anything else that might occur. I mean, of course, there's always going to be something, but I know funding was the biggest thing, so things of that.
Yeah,
nature.
great question, and thanks for asking it. So the funding that we received from the state of Utah with our grant that was approved, in reaching out to the state, I asked, is there a certain time that this money has to be completely expended by? They told us whatever fits our timeline best. So if we ran into something or if we wanted to evaluate, I don't think the state would, hold it against us or take the money back by any means. Obviously, when we presented our application for the funding, we kind of gave the impression that we were going to be moving on this as soon as we could, and so we ought to be trying to spend this money that the state has awarded us as soon as we can, but obviously we need to be thorough and do our due diligence, and if there were things that came up with our current site, or if we evaluated an additional site, I think the state would still support us with the funding that they provided.
Okay.
Did you have anything? All right.
Yes, I have been expecting also the advantages to sharing spaces the space next to the middle school and looking at what our options are and how it would benefit San Juan School District, the elementary school, and the middle school. As I watched the middle school come down during the school day, use the track, we have and other resources. Sometimes the middle school, the students walk down to the auditorium because they're so close in proximity. We share resources, and it's a big benefit to the students to be able to do that. So I'm looking for the portion of this meeting where that has also been looked at and how it would benefit our schools and how we would save money. Sharing parking, sharing outdoor spaces, the grass, and those types of things. So is there any
If we're
work
talking
done or
about
any
if we're
presentation
talking about
on
a
the pros part of that?
Yeah, if we're talking about a
Okay.
specific piece of property that would provide that benefit, we ought to talk about that in closed session that could discuss the value of a piece of property for us. So,
Well, the negotiation of possible price, but just a presentation on if we had a piece of property right next to our current properties, what we could, how it would benefit San Juan School District, why we're looking at this in the first place, but that part seems to be missing in this presentation.
yeah, this is just, with the evaluation of moving a site, so it's just in general, the activities would need to take place, but it's not specifically looking at any specific site which you're referencing that could provide those pros and cons for a specific location.
Well, and the specific location isn't a secret because it was brought to our attention last board meeting, and that's why we're here, is that specific location we were asked to look at. And so I think to make decision and be full disclosure with public that the reason we're looking at this at all is because it could be a big, there are some advantages to the site as well as some disadvantages that have been pointed out. But the advantages, we don't have a list of this is how it would benefit the students who attend the school and the budget.
Yeah, again, I'll reiterate, what our business administrator is saying is if we're going to discuss specific sites and the advantages and disadvantages of those sites, it should be in closed session because that's where that would be appropriate.
There are things that we can't discuss in closed session, and that would include things like we would be able to share the grass space if we looked at this. There are things we can't discuss in closed session just because we don't want to discuss it in front of the public. It would be to negotiate the price of a specific property, or it's already been brought to the attention of our public I mean, this one is already public.
However.
But if we were
those-
to discuss actually making an exchange, that part of it we'll do in closed session.
Then I think we're probably going to have to go into closed session first, and then if we need to, we can come out and address some of those once we've talked about that in closed session. So we can go in closed session until
Okay.
4:30, and then we'll come back out for public comment. So I need a
Okay.
motion to go into closed session.
Do you want it now or at 4:30?
I will make
Right
the
now.
motion to go into closed session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property.
Okay, a motion by Mary, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, Nan?
Nan Barton, yes.
Chloe Benally, yes.
Steve Black, yes.
Lori Mon, yes?
Mary Shumway, yes.
Okay, so just sit tight, we'll go in for about 15 minutes, and we'll be back out in about 4:30. Thank you. Erin, do you need a few minutes? Okay, thanks. And welcomes public comment. So time is allotted in our public meetings for such. However, to maximize its benefit, there must be structure and consistency to the practice. With that in mind, please know that public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective criticism of school operations and programs, but complaints about school personnel or other persons will not be allowed. Individuals expressing comments should not expect an immediate response from the board. Please understand that the public comment period is not a debate, an interactive question and answer session, or a dispute resolution forum, but is an opportunity for you to express your comments, suggestions, and concerns to the board for our information and consideration. A member of the district's staff will respond to patrons who request a follow-up meeting or information. So we appreciate the public being here with us this afternoon, and so Britt Barton, you're on the top of my list, I'm sorry. Do you want me to shuffle them better? Come up, the timer will be up here, and trust me, you will hear it when it goes off.
Well, I wasn't
So-
going to comment until after I heard all the other comments.
Oh,
so
okay.
Let me just say a few things. I appreciate the board, the administration, all the effort, time, energies you've put into this process. We as citizens have elected each of you, and you have hired the administration. And I know you've tried to be transparent in this process. It's entirely impossible to relay all the information that you have to the public. I know you're very open to receiving public comment. Appreciate that. At the same time, I know we can't possibly have the same information and the same expertise that each of you have and have been appraised of during this process. I guess I would just encourage you to, since you've voted and made a decision to move forward, I would advise you to just move forward with your current vote in this process and get it done. I think it's something that's going to be a great blessing to the community, and I look forward to seeing it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mason. Oh, there you are.
Mason's our regular.
A lot like Britt mentioned, I just wanted to come up and say thank you for all your time, your energy that you have spent for the students and the teachers of the entire district. But the last year or so, a lot of time that you've spent in preparation for this building, the discussions you've had, the possible sleepless nights you've had over the decisions that you have to make. They're not easy ones, but again, I mentioned it in the last meeting. I'm grateful that we took an opportunity to move quickly on a few items in order to qualify for $20 million that will not need to be paid for by the taxpayers of San Juan County. The repercussions of maybe needing to change some things or move things are just part of that. But without having made the prior choices, we wouldn't be where we are, and I appreciate that. I just wanted to let you all know that, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Kim Hyatt.
So I'd just like to thank the board for providing this opportunity for us to meet again about this really important issue. And I believe one board member mentioned that we're talking about this site, we're not naming the site, but if that site's not advantageous for our students, for whatever reason, sewer issues next door or whatever that might be, there are other sites. I believe one will be mentioned, even maybe the existing site that the school sits on, but going up instead of out. But there's other sites, and I just want the board to be aware, and I hope you felt this last time. It felt like everyone was pretty amicable, and we're all very grateful for what you've done and the time and sleepless nights that Mason mentioned. There just may be other sites besides this one that's just north of the middle school that would be available. And if we were to build on the original Blanding site and go up instead of out, less of a footprint there. Logistics, I'm not going to pretend that's why we vote you smart people in to figure all of that out. But there's definitely other ways and ways other communities in the state of Utah have decided to go ahead with new elementary schools or new schools for that matter. So again, I appreciate your time. I don't think we should just go get her done. I think we and that's not the way you operate anyway. You've spent a lot of time in that. And so I appreciate you listening to our concerns as citizens that an alternate location should be chosen. So thank you.
Thank you. Cortland Lyman. Do you go by Jay? Cortland?
Well, it's complicated. My first name is John. I go by Cortland.
Or is
So,
that like
just to
when you're in
simpli-
trouble by your parents?
No, just to simplify things. Legally, I am John, but I go by Cortland. So, kind of piggybacking off of Kimberly's thoughts here, and speaking from personal experience, I grew up in Cedar City, Utah, and there was a local elementary school that ran into this similar situation. It was one level, it was old, they were needing a new school. And what they did is they built on the current site, and that was vacant, it was just grass and playground area. And they built up, they did a 2-story building, and then later demolished the one level, the old building, and repurposed that land into parking or playground area as needed. So I would just propose this thought, if there is a change in location from the other sites, to use the vacant area south of the current elementary school to build upwards, do a multi-level building, and then repurpose the land where the old building would be demolished. That would just be my thought, consideration. Piggybacking off of what Brett and Mason have already said, I realize that this is not an easy decision, and I do appreciate your time and effort that you guys put into this. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Tiana. Did I get it right this time? Thank you.
Okay, I'm here as a representative for Paul McDonald and the rest of the group that came and spoke. And so we just wanted to be here. He couldn't be here in person, so I'm just here representing. I just wanted to take a moment to express our gratitude to the school board for listening to the input from community members at the last meeting. Your dedication to hearing our concerns and ideas is noticed and greatly appreciated. You are helping to create a collaborative and a supportive environment within our school district. Thank you for valuing our perspectives and making visible effort to consider our ideas. Your willingness to listen shows your commitment to building trust within our community, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and Terry. There you are.
You're not brave enough for that last name.
Well, is it Lecty? Lecty?
It's Lichty. It's a strange one. They named Liechtenstein after me.
Okay, I was going to attempt it, but then I wondered if I really should, so thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here with you. First of all, my Facebook has been hacked, and so I'm not on Facebook, but I understand that's how you advertise. I would love it if there's an advertisement or a notice in the paper so that we know when the school board meetings are happening, so that we could be a part of this, because I don't know how else you let the public know. Is it only through Facebook?
No.
I advertise for a minimum of 2 weeks in the paper, sometimes.
Okay. Okay, then I've missed that. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'll have my nose to the ground a little bit better. My only concern, and I'm not here because I have a serious understanding of the school, but it sounds like I'm reflecting what many people are saying, that we do need to consider the expansion, the needed expansion. Typically, when we build something, we often need something a little bit bigger, not too far in the distant future. So I would hope that whatever building plans that there are allowing for expansion, whether it is up on a second level or out. So for the little bit I understand about the schools, that would be my only concern, but I like the process that I'm seeing and hearing and hoping for, so thank you very much.
So Terry, real quick, you put you did not want a response back, but
Yeah.
you may, just to kind of, I mean, it's totally up to you, but if you'd like, they can reach out to you regarding, there were some changes to the school for expansion. So if you want details on it, you can have them reach out to you or whatever you prefer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So we'll just leave that up to you.
Thank
if
you
wanna
so
get ahold of
much.
them. Okay. All right, Eva, no more public comment?
Refresh my email. It is requested that the letter be read by the
Except,
sender.
okay, I need to read it first, if I may. Okay, Steve, do you want to, we better go read this first.
Check it and see if you want to take something.
Have you seen this one?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, it's really.
Sorry, we'll be back.
I should have responded.
There's candy bars on the table.
I thought your only reason is the vice president was to
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna forward it to you.
Anyway.
See, they only sent it.
For it.
It's just C, right?
Yeah.
One. Okay. There it is. I don't like it when I say something that should have been sent to everybody. And I just been really, I should have just forwarded it. I'm gonna grab some water. Yes, thank you.
I have one, thanks.
All right, you can go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, this letter was written by Jennifer Keith and signed by some teachers at the elementary school. It states, "Dear School Board, we are so grateful for all of the changes that have been implemented into our new school. We know that you are all working so hard to get us the best school possible. We thank you for all your efforts. We do, however, have a concern that needs to be addressed. The concern has to deal with the bathrooms. Safety for students is the number one concern. There have been several incidents of sexual assault and bullying that have occurred in the bathrooms in the past few years. In our current situation, we have upper grades using the same bathroom as the lower grades, and we have several students in the same grade using the bathrooms at the same time. This has proven to be unsafe for our students. Another concern is respect. Having the multi-stall bathroom makes it harder to find students who are not using the bathroom properly. Graffiti, trash, soap on surfaces, climbing on, over, or under the stalls are just a few ways that the bathrooms are being destroyed. These issues can be solved by putting a bathroom in each classroom or one in between two teachers. This option allows for student privacy and is the best option for safety. We as teachers can send one child at a time, and we will know who is the last person to use the bathroom if there are any issues. We understand this may add cost, but student safety should be our first priority. No child should ever be afraid to use the bathroom at school, and parents should have peace of mind knowing that their child is safe at school. Since we are all trying to make the new school the best school it possibly can be, this is a great opportunity to address the safety of our students. Please consider this change for their safety and innocence.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to move down to our possible action item. I'm not even quite sure what we want action on that. Pardon me?
Floor's open.
So the floor is open to make a motion regarding our Blanding Elementary School property, and then that motion is up to you how you choose to make it. If there's no motion made, then we stay the course is what we're doing. So.
Well, I want to have a motion so we can have a discussion that's, of course, appropriate public discussion. So is that the only way we can discuss this?
Yeah, because that's where we're at on our agenda.
But we could still, BS location discussion, can we just continue that? Well, I would say we can. I've been a board president.
So you can, my thoughts on that is that you could continue the discussion if you have questions, particularly for Tyrell and any discussion that goes with that. I know in closed there was a question possibly posed that would be more appropriate in an open session than closed session. So if you still want to pose that question that you made in closed, we could do that. I know that we didn't answer that question because that would be more appropriate in open session. So if there are continued discussion and questions about what Tyrell shared, then that we could go back to the discussion item.
Yeah. So if you want, we'll just jump back up to that. Do you want to go ahead?
About the, I lost my train of thought.
I don't know. I don't remember your question. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. My question was actually to the survey that was done. And my question was, do we know if that, on that site, whether it was a cooking pit, or do we know exact details on what was found on the archaeological? And could we do a more in-depth survey on that?
Yeah, that'll be completed.
Okay.
We don't have the further information until that is completed.
Okay.
And as I understand it, because that property is flagged already by the State Historical Society, that when you use federal funds, and that's where the money came from, the 20 million.
State.
It came from federal to the state.
No.
And then-
State dollars. It's from the economic stabilization account. So it's state dollars, but even with state dollars, you have to follow everything that's been flagged with the state historic preservation.
So government money, if it was privately owned, that could be ignored, but it can't with government money, so it will be excavated. We'll pay for that excavation and then see what turns up. I would just like to say I'm grateful for the people in Blanding who have been interested and who wanted to be a part of this. And I want to publicly say for myself as a board member, I only speak for myself, that I apologize that our process wasn't different and we didn't include a huge discussion at the start of this with Blanding residents, because we value, I can say that much, we value your interest and your input, and a lot of you have a lot of really good ideas. You put more people together and you come up with better solutions. That's just, I think, a fact. And the timeline that we were under to make a decision so that we could move forward and start some plans was to get this $20 million. At the time, my thought was, well, we move forward with a property in Bluff, and then because couple of different reasons. One was archaeological, and the other was the resident of Bluff did not want the school outside of Bluff. I mean, it's in city limits, but Bluff's a big city. And so that was moved. And due to the expense that we have already spent, and also I had no idea when we had this meeting, the last meeting, and Paul McDonald and many of you came and expressed your interest. I had no idea there was a meeting scheduled for today with a whole host of people that traveled down from Salt Lake, a very expensive meeting. Everything we do, we pay the architects and things. The fact that we had that meeting, it was, a 4 or 5 hour meeting today with, I don't know how many people traveled to that to go over fine details about the plans. In my opinion, we maybe should have known that a couple of weeks ago was too late, because today with the meeting that was scheduled that I didn't know about a couple of weeks ago, I felt like today it probably is too late. I would like to see it on the current, or on the current existing site and go up to, but I don't know if there's any, and two of you expressed that today, and that would be my big wish. It's in the middle of town. We have lots and lots of kids that walk, and we didn't thoroughly look at that. That's my regret. I apologize to the community for that. But I would be highly in favor of looking at our current elementary site.
Just one clarification that did come up through public comment is, I think it was yours, Kim, the site that we're on and the site we looked at is not the only site that was looked at, just so you're aware. So, okay, thank you. Anything else, anyone? Okay, all right, so we're gonna move back down to the motion then. So does anyone, I guess what we need to do is we need to probably, so this is, never mind. I'll just leave it up for the motion. Does anybody need to make a motion? Okay. If not, we will go to our information item.
All right, next board meeting is April 10th here at the district office, and it will be broadcast virtually.
Okay. And we are adjourned. Thank you for coming.